Hi, I'm Bailey Bennett Andrade, DEI Media Marketer. In the following presentation, you will hear from co-founder of the center, Randall Lindsay, as he discusses the anger-guilt paralysis. He shares how anger and guilt may seem very different at face value. However, in the context of creating systemic change, they are both dysfunctional towards progress.
My name is Randall Lindsay. I'm an emeritus professor at California State University, Los Angeles, and very pleased to be with you today on this topic of the anger-guilt paralysis. Our consideration of this particular topic began when we were doing work with schools in the process of school desegregation in the 1970s, 1980s. And as people doing the work going to schools, whether they're pre-K or middle school or high school or university, we would see about half the people were really willing to deal with the material and sort of the changing of one's mindset. But there would always be a group that would be angry about it, and there'd be a group that would be guilty about it. And we kept taking a look at that over time and said, there's got to be something here that we can use instructively. So a group of us over a period of a couple of years just kept the conversation on the table. Raymond Terrell, Kakanza Robbins, Dolores Lindsay, Brendan Franklin Campbell Jones. We kept just churning around. And one day I thought back to a lecture that I had had in my undergraduate program at Western Illinois University in Macomb, Illinois, a poli-sci professor, Dr. Stevens. And he had taken a continuum, was trying to illustrate for us the difference between and the similarities between Soviet communism and German fascism. And all the different things that we know and how they are different. But he said, I want to show you how they are similar. And he said, over time, they both fail. And he took the continuum where he had fascism at one end and communism at the other end and bent it and said, these two are both similar in the fact that they're dysfunctional. And we sat there that afternoon and said, this may be the delivery system that we need to explain the anger guilt paralysis. Our experience with the anger side, when we thought about the different kinds of reactions we got from people, we had comments like, slavery ended over 100 years ago, get over it. We had people say, I don't benefit from being white or being male. We had people saying, my family worked hard for everything we had. Nothing was given to us. And people would say, everything that I have gotten in my life, I've earned. So that was on the anger side. On the guilt side is when people took a look at the disparities. They took a look at suspension rates of African-American male students. They took a look at who's in gifted and talented and who is in special ed. And started to take a look at the data. There would be this overwhelming guilt very often. People say, oh my gosh, I've been teaching 10, 15, 20 years. I never saw these disparities. How did I contribute to that? And so there'd be that kind of reflection was really significant. People would say, what can I do? I'm just one person. I'm out here by myself. And one comment that we've used frequently, quoting Dick Gregory, and again, I'm a history teacher by training before I came to the university. And his comment at a conference in 1967, quite a while ago, in South Carolina was, think about US history. We talk about Columbus discovering America. And he made an observation, which we all knew, but all of a sudden it took a different meaning. How can you discover something that millions of people are using? And it just created a mindset that was really quite significant. So comparing the political systems, coming down to both the dysfunctional, anger and guilt are both dysfunctional. That brings in the cultural efficiency framework, because the cultural efficiency framework provides 4 tools for moving forward, both as individuals and as the organization. And so we use that anger and guilt as a way in which to engage people in 2 processes, reflection and dialogue. Cultural efficiency framework is important to individuals because the individuals can take a look at their own values and behaviors and then take a look at the organization's policies and practices. And that becomes the important part of the framework and how we see the kinds of changes we need to make within ourselves and within the organizations that we work with. In this series, when you take a look at the breakthrough questions by Dolores Lindsay, you'll see the manner in which we break through that construct of being stuck on dysfunctional and the anger and guilt, but are moving to proactive pieces. The greatest benefit we've had in the last 10 years has been the fact that the equity ideas, the equity policies have become national and statewide. So we have opportunities today that we didn't have a generation ago to really take a look at what are the inequities in our school system, how do we relate to them, and how do we promote change within the organization. The first one is the reflection we have with ourselves. The second is the dialogue we have with our colleagues as we make those kinds of policy and practice decisions. So thank you for this opportunity of speaking with you.